Good morning. Welcome to Matt Davis Reads the Newspaper so that you don't have to. Today's lead story is that the erosion of the IRS is putting its mission in greater peril. The New York Times has gone and interviewed a dozen, at least, former IRS staff and probably a dozen or 24 more people who currently work in the agency. They have really kind of gone into the cuts that the Trump administration has made to the tax collecting service right as we approach tax season. I, of course, filed my taxes 2 months ago because I am an extremely anxious person and I don't like any surprises on the tax front. If you are a multinational corporation evading tax, this is probably the best time in the world to do so. It's because there are international ways of avoiding, but in the US, all of those companies that were being audited by the IRS are now essentially got off the hook. The article gets into interviewing people like Beth Crowell, who was auditing a really big and evasive organization, a $3 billion organization, and she's now been laid off. And she says it's unlikely that audit's ever going to be completed. That's a shame. I'm reflecting on all this through the lens of there's a famous Bible quote in some of the Gospels about render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto me what is mine, and so on. The idea being that it's never right or wrong to pay tax; it's a structure in a civilized society. And when you start defacing those structures and tearing them down, you make it very difficult for anybody to keep a sort of civilized society going. Obviously, the IRS has been deeply unpopular for many years because people don't like paying tax. But as a taxpayer, I am comfortable with my money going to support a federal government I don't agree with. I like the fact that they collect my money and they use it to further their agenda in a democracy. If I don't like that, I can vote for somebody else. And, suffice to say, it's fairly likely that I might well do so at the next election. But it's troubling. And the article goes into the mechanics of all this. They talk about a 25-year-old employee of Musk's organization doing all the firing. He wears all black and sounds like a proper little Nazi, frankly. They've also gone, one of the most damning quotes in this piece, which continues on page 17, is from somebody who was fired. She actually supported Trump. She worked in the Phoenix office. She said, I voted for Trump. I do like him. I like all of what he did in the last term of office and all the things he stood for. So I think I probably disagree with her on most of that, but that's not the quote. The quote is, but now that he's brought in Elon Musk, it's a mess, she said. And this is a woman who was collecting money for the IRS. She was 58. She worked in Phoenix. She was close to completing an audit that would have generated a significant tax payment to the IRS. She's not sure if her former colleagues will have the resources to finish it. There's another employee who was let go. She's 41 years old. She was in Texas. She was on a probationary period, and they fired a bunch of probationary tax officers. She waited in the office all day to get fired. She ended up having a panic attack. Again, I don't think all of us are going to be totally sympathetic to a tax officer, but the idea that she was treated so badly is not great. She says, I'm appalled that my tax dollars were wasted on getting all those employees trained. They didn't even get the chance to get out of their probationary period, she said. Most of the people quoted in this article agree that as a result of Musk and Trump's actions, the IRS will not be able to collect tax at the same rate it was previously. So while, cutting staff is theoretically one way of reducing the deficit, so is effectively collecting tax. I find it difficult to read this story and take it seriously, the idea that Trump and Musk are keen to actually reduce the deficit. I don't think they care about the deficit. I do think it's in both their interests to see corporate tax levies be less efficient and to see tax not collected. It's sad. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm interested to know. If you ever want to come on the show, you can text me and I will let you on. I have 0 screening processes. You could be crazy and I'll let you on. So let's see how that goes. The number's at the bottom of the screen. My name is Matt Davis. I am here every day reading the newspaper so that you don't have to. Please do share my newsletter and these video segments with your friends who you think might enjoy them. the more of us read the newspaper, frankly, the more informed we'll be. And I at least think it's important to pay witness to what's going on, even if one can feel sometimes fairly powerless and a little bit depressed by it. It's a reason to get out of bed for me to read the newspaper, so that you don't have to, and that's important. I appreciate you. Thanks a lot.